Hi guys, today is Wednesday, January 7th. I am gone. I am at Disney World for my race, and this is the first day you're going to be working on your project. So remember, for this project, I gave you your groups and your topic before the break. If you don't remember what your groups or topic are, the sub has a list of who was in your group and what your topic was. So check with the sub, they have that document. Pause this video to do that. Okay, after you've done that, I need you to get with and sit with your groups and grab a Chromebook. And I need you to do the following. So you're going to go, when you go to Canvas, when you get to Canvas, you're going to go to Modules. And when you get to Modules, you're going to click this link right here that says Bioethics Group Project. You're going to click on that. So this project details everything you should be doing for the next couple days while I'm gone. It has the 2 documents that the sub gave you today. The Bioethics Project document, which is just an overview of the project overall. You have that with you, and I'll go over it with you in just a second. And the rubric, which I'll also go over with you in just a second. You have that with you as well. This timeline is what you should be doing each day to get your project done. Today is day 1, and we'll go over what you should be doing day 1 in just a second. Friday will be day 2. We'll go over that on Friday in Friday's video. And day 3 will be Tuesday. When I get back, day 4, that's going to be Thursday, December 14th. Nope, 15th. We will be doing presentations. The links down here are models of proficiency and what everything should look like. So this is an example right here of what your research should look like. This is an example of what your final PowerPoint should look like. And we have 2 videos of examples of good and bad presentations. And the sub can play those for you if you would like. Just ask. Okay. So we're going to start with this first document, Bioethics Project. So have that in front of you while I go over this. So the point of this Bioethics Project is for you to understand that sometimes the ethical debates with biology is difficult. At this point with genetics, that's not what we can do, it's what we should be doing. So what's going to happen is your group is going to act like a congressional subcommittee. So your job is to become experts on the issue of your topic and to write a law whether your biotechnology should be allowed or not and what circumstances it should be allowed in. So the first thing you're going to do, phase 1, which is what you're going to do today, is research. And what you need to research, you need to know the basics and how DNA works. So these first 2 bullet points are in your notes that we did before break. So when I told you this is going to come back, and to make sure you have those notes really, really good, this is where it comes back. So take a look at your notes again, review them, make sure you understand everything in them. If you don't, I have videos on Canvas to help you out with that. Or you can email me and I'll try to explain via email. What you need to research with your group is, how does your technology affect nucleic acids, either DNA, RNA, or the eventual protein? Why would we want to change that? And how does it work in general? So that's what you're doing today, is research. Next, after you finish your research and you become an expert on the topic, you're going to debate with your group on your group's different points of view. Should this thing be allowed or not, and why? And if it is allowed or not, how should we manage it? Like, who's going to keep track of that? Then you're going to write your law. I have an example of a well-written law in that model of proficiency PowerPoint. And you're going to design your presentation. I will give you a 3x5 card to help you along with your presentation. But remember, you're presenting, so you don't want to be looking at that 3x5 card the whole time. So make sure you also practice your presentation after you've designed it. And you're going to defend your position, so you need to be prepared for any questions and answers you might get. That is a major point of your grading on this. It's not just answering the questions, but answering them well. And then we have a suggested presentation outline. Your model of proficiency on Canvas goes over this as well in a lot of detail, and that's right here to refer to. This goes along with the design your persuasive presentation step. Okay, so that's this document. This is just an overview of the project and what it is and why we're doing it. If you have questions on this that I did not answer just barely, please email me. Okay, the next document that you have in front of you is the rubric. So on the rubric, here's how I'm going to be grading you. I'm going to put all the group members' names and your topic. I'm going to be grading you on your intro in your PowerPoint, that you introduced all of your group members and you told us what your topic was. That's not a lot of points. I'm going to be grading you on how clearly you explain what your biotechnology is and how well your fellow students understand it. They have to be able to understand it to vote yes or no to your law. Next is your ethical dilemma portion, your pros and cons section, whether that is balanced and unbiased or not. Because as sophomores, you guys have a tendency to be really biased towards your position. And we want this ethical part to be unbiased because not everyone in the room is going to agree with you. And you need to make sure that you take into account all sides of this issue with your biotechnology. That's why that's also worth quite a bit of points. And finally, in this section is your law. It should be the exact text of the law. It should be understandable, concise, so fairly short, and it should adequately cover the issue. This is allowed except this, or this is not allowed at any point, and there are examples of that in the model of proficiency. I'll show you in a second. The second section we're going to grade you on is how well you are prepared. If you're really prepared and it's well paced, it goes logically, you're making eye contact, that's the first part. Every member also needs to speak and present roughly equally. Part C, it needs to be clear and confident. You need to have practiced. And part D, it needs to be persuasive. You need to persuade all of the people in the room that your law is the best and why. And they need to be convinced of that. And finally, the Q&A session. Notice your question and answer session is worth a third of this whole thing. So you need to be able to answer at least one question, every single member of your group. And your question needs to be answered accurately. And it needs to be effective in defending your law and why you made it that way. You also need to be very, very strong and persuasive in your law. You need to make sure people vote for your law. So at the end of after you present, we're going to vote yay or nay on whether we say your law is good or your law is bad, if we want to enact your law or if we don't want to put your law into motion. So you need to convince everybody in the room, or at least a majority of them, that your law is good and they want to choose it. They want to have it in our pretend country here. And that is part of your grade. So you need to make sure to persuade your class to vote for your position. And here's the great thing, because this is how laws work and how science works, is we can change the law before you vote. If we're in this Q&A session and you realize a couple of points you didn't realize before, you can change the wording of the law before we vote. So this is going to be worth 100 points. So make sure throughout the rest of these 3 days you're working hard and you're referring back to this to make sure you are ready. Okay, the next thing I want to point out is what you're doing today. So going back to what the point of this project is. The point of this project is for you to see that some of these issues with DNA and genetics are a question of morals and not a question of what we can or can't do. So what you're going to do is you're going to become an expert. You're going to write a law and you're going to present it to the class. And the class is going to be our Congress. And you need to convince the class that your law is amazing, that you're an expert in this thing, and that they should vote to enact your law in our imaginary country here. So here's what you're going to do on day 1. So I'm giving you the project instructions right now. If you have questions on them, please email me or refer back to these 2 documents. Now you're going to research. So you're going to create a Google Doc to keep track of your research and share it with everyone in your group at Miss Watts. So you can either create your own Google Doc or you can come down here and make a copy of this one. And I will move that copy up here so when you see this, it'll be right below that. So click on this Google Doc and it will open. and it will force you to make a copy of that. So I'll show you. It just opens for me because I'm the owner. So it will force you to make a copy. You will click, yes, make a copy. After you've done that, you're going to come up here to share. You're going to click share, and you're going to type in the email of everybody in your groups and mine. So make sure you invite me onto here, okay? So everyone in your group and me. And this has more instructions here, but let's go back first. You need to research about your topic and become experts today. That is your goal, is to know your topic inside and out like the back of your hand by the time the bell rings. And to put that information on this document right here. You need to be able to figure out what is your topic. How does your topic work? This needs to be extremely detailed because your constituents, the people you are presenting to, need to know what they're voting for. What does that have to do with DNA? And pros and cons. If you're xenotransplantation, please make sure you research up to date and don't just talk about taking pig organs and putting it into humans. That is not up to date, so try to find something as up to date as possible. This research should take most if not all of the class period. So that research is going to be done on this page. So on this page, you're going to put the title of your project right there. So xenotransplantation, GMO agriculture, designer babies, right there. Then you're going to put your group names here. I am going to be grading this paper and keeping track of it. So you need to make sure that you do this and that you share it with me. So this document is going to be a working document, which means it's going to be changing for you and your group. And it'll look slightly different for each group. Its purpose is to contain all your research and ideas before building your final project document. You'll be sharing this document with me to turn in along with your presentation on Google Slides. So copy the document. You've already done that. Hooray! Share with your group members, share with me, and edit the document to contain your research. Something that's important here. I want you to use AI. Use AI, but keep in mind AI is not accurate with a lot of scientific things. So what is the best to do is use AI to find sources. Do not use it as your entire source of information, because when we get back to that rubric and if your information is accurate or not, guess what? It's not going to be accurate, and I will mark you down for that. So use it to find good sources or good ideas. Do not use it as your only source. You should have multiple sources. Also, do not use it to write or do your project for you. You have 3 days and there's a lot of you. Take the time to do it right and do it well. AI has a very particular voice that's very different from you guys. Even when you tell it to write as a sophomore, I can tell the difference. So please be sure not to do that. I'm also going to put it through an AI checker. So please be sure you can use it as a tool. Do not use it to do your entire project for you. Okay. So here's the things you need to know. You need to have basic understanding of DNA, RNA, and protein synthesis. Again, that's in your notes, so check back on that. You need background information in the topic, and I've already kind of gone over this, but I'll go over it again. What is your topic? What does it mean? What does xenotransplantation mean? What are bioweapons? What is a GMO? How does your project work? What do we do to get a GMO? What do we do to get a human clone? And what does it have to do with DNA or RNA? Also, pros and cons. Why is your thing good? Why is it bad? What are upsides of using it? What are downsides of using it? Then what I want you to do is find sources. You're going to copy and text the URL or the thing up here in the search bar. You're going to copy and paste it right here so I can check your sources and make sure they're good ones. And then you're going to write a summary of your source. You can just copy and paste different things you like. That is completely fine. But remember, you need to be an expert. So if you don't understand what you're copying and pasting, that's not going to help you that much. If you have questions on what certain things mean, you can copy and paste it into an email and I will help you. And I want you to have at least 5 or 6 sources. So there's probably 3 to 4 of you in a group, so you each need to find 2 sources. And copy those sources here. Remember, this is a research project, so you do need to research. You can't use AI to find sources, but again, you need 6 different ones, so don't just go to 6 different AIs. Okay, Then what you should do is have a basic summary of what you learned about each thing here, so that when you go to make your project, you know what you're talking about. So what is it? Xenotransplantation is this. How does it work? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. What does it have to do with DNA or RNA? Short summary. You understand the picture. Pros and cons doesn't need to be a summary so much as like a list. And then write out your law together. Your law is going to be hard to come up with for your group. Your group should all agree and be 100% in and okay with your law, especially if you want to persuade other people. Then on this doc, you're going to make a plan for your presentation, who's doing what section, what you want your project to look like. That's going to be on here. This is all day 1. So it should take you the rest of the day to fill in this and do this research. You will not start making the PowerPoint until day 2. So today you're just researching and becoming an expert on your topic. You can look ahead to the Model of Proficiency PowerPoint if you would like. That is where I have examples of what the law looks like, but you don't need to be making your PowerPoint today. Okay, that is it for today. If you have any questions, please email me and let me know, and I will help you. Remember, you should just be researching your topic today. That's it. And filling out this Google Doc down here. I will make sure it is up here before you guys see this video and before you guys look at this page. Okay, that's day 1. I'll see you on Friday for day 2's video. Please email me if you have any questions. I want to help you and I will answer. Have a great day, guys. Have a great week.